I'm a VP investment banker in London, and let me tell you, most people who say they want my job actually want a different role in banking that just don't know that it exists. Because the truth is, banking isn't just one career, it's three. Investment banking, corporate banking, and transaction banking. Different work, different hours, and different life. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down each one and help you figure out which one actually fits you. And if you don't know me, I'm Haris Zamir, an investment banker and CFA charter holder and founder of Charter Mastery, which is a CFA and career mentorship program. Now, before I break down the three tracks, let me just give you a shortcut because there's only really three questions that matter. And the first one is, what type of work do you actually want? If you want to work on transactions, mergers and acquisitions, capital raises, IPOs, that's investment banking. If you'd rather own a client relationship long term and understand the client's business inside out and be the person that they call when they need financing, then that's corporate banking. And if you want to provide operational solutions to businesses, so things like cash management, payments, working capital solutions, then that's transaction banking. The second question is, what hours can you actually sustain? Not in theory, but in practice. So for example, investment banking is 70 to 80 as standard, 80 to 100 during live deals, and cancelling your Friday plans, weekends, and even holidays sometimes is just part of the job. Corporate banking is more like 50 to 60 and it's predictable. Weekends are mainly protected, and sometimes things can spike, but that's the exception, not the rule. And then you have transaction banking, which is more like 45 to 55, and it's the most predictable of all three, meaning most of the time you'll be home for dinner. Now, I want to be honest, saying, yeah, I'll work hard, no problem, is very different to doing 80 hours a week, week after week. And the truth is, most people cannot hack this, and they shoot for IB simply because it's the only thing that they've heard of. But what they actually want is stimulating work, smart colleagues, good income, and real long-term prospects, and that exists in all three of these tracks. And the third question is, where does your background actually map to? So if you're coming from professional services, i.e. Big Four, transaction services, valuations or something like that, or consulting or corporate finance, you could shoot for investment banking or corporate banking depending on what you're interested in. If you're coming from accounting or audit, your financial statements work maps better to corporate banking or credit risk. If you're coming from an ops, treasury, or supply chain background, that maps more directly to transaction banking. So the smartest move is picking the path where your existing experience is actually an asset rather than shooting for the path with the highest prestige, earning potential, or the long-term prospects. Alright, now let me bring this all to life by stepping through each track one by one and showing you what it looks like day to day. And we'll start with the one that people think that they want, which is investment banking. So investment banking is the deals business. You're advising companies on M&A, i.e. the buying and selling and merging of companies, and also helping them raise capital. And that includes equity offerings, debt issuances, and you help structure how transactions and deals get funded. So the work is intense, technical, and deal-based, and let's look at what the day-to-day actually looks like. So one of the primary responsibilities, particularly at analyst level, is building financial models and deriving valuation. So this includes DCFs, i.e. discounted cash flow analysis, and comps and precedent transactions. You're also creating pitch materials for clients, and these essentially outline the team's recommendation in relation to a particular transaction. So it could be how a transaction should be financed, what the proposed valuation is, what the timelines look like, all sorts of considerations. You're also coordinating across multiple stakeholders. So that includes private equity sponsors, lawyers, diligence providers, all sorts of parties, and this is often under strict non-negotiable deadlines. And honestly, when a deal is live, your schedule is no longer yours. Plans easily get cancelled, you can lose your weekend. This is just part of the job. And I work in this world, and I can tell you, when we leave the office at night or we're online late at night, we almost never see anyone from the other tracks online. Maybe corporate banking, certainly not transaction banking, and that tells you everything you need to know about the difference in reality between the three tracks. Now let's look at some of the trade-offs here. So analyst pay in the UK ranges between 90 to 180k all in, and it's higher in the US, but you earn that working 70 to 100 hours a week. So the hourly pay, it's probably a lot lower than some of the other tracks, particularly early in your career. And all of this with a very unpredictable lifestyle. So it's genuinely not always enjoyable or sustainable, particularly in the early years. So the reason most people do it is because of the deal exposure, which is very valuable. It's also an accelerated learning curve early in your journey. And the main reason is for the exit opportunities. So into the likes of private equity, hedge funds, or other buy-side roles, or into corporate development if you want to go into industry. Now, if those exits matter to you, then investment banking makes the most sense. But if you're not looking to exit and you're looking to build a career within banking, the other two paths may well offer more value. So let's look at corporate banking, and this is essentially the lending and relationships business. So you're the primary banker for mid to large companies, and you're assessing whether they can borrow, how much, and on what terms. And you do this over a sustained period and manage the relationship over a sustained period. Now, in terms of the day-to-day, it depends on what level you're at. The more junior you are, the more time you spend analyzing financial statements, so the P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow, looking at all the metrics and deciding about the borrower's credit worthiness and whether you actually want to lend to them. And then you'll write memos, i.e. internal credit memos, essentially expressing whether or not the bank should lend and on what terms, and you have to seek approval for this. Now, beyond this, especially as you get more senior, you're out meeting clients. So lunches, dinners, that's a normal part of the job. That's part of the relationship building, and you're understanding the business and its needs and connecting them with both the lending teams plus other parts of the banks. This includes things like risk management, so that could be FX, inflation, or rates. It could be treasury services, cash management. It could be trade or asset finance. There's a host of services and products that banks provide, and we'll actually talk about these in the context of transaction banking next. But ultimately, the corporate banker's job is both to lend, but also to connect the company with other parts of the bank. Now, I actually spent my first year in banking, in corporate banking, before I moved into investment banking. And honestly, the biggest difference was the predictability. You had repeating rhythms, you knew what your week would look like. And for me, I found the work to be too vanilla, but that's probably because I was facing into the wealth management and asset management space. So these institutions are huge and are very low risk, so the credit decisions weren't particularly complex. But if you're facing into a sector like TMT, healthcare, or leveraged lending, this will probably be much more interesting. The clients themselves will be interesting, plus the lending decisions will be more complex and require deeper analysis. And the other thing that I touched on is that as a corporate banker, you are a connector. So at a more junior level, you're actually on the desk sort of doing the grunt work, which is often the case across most of the tracks. But as you progress up in corporate banking, most of your time is spent out at client lunches, dinners, conferences, and just essentially building relationships, which energizes some people. And those who do it and enjoy it actually love this job because it's not super intense from a sort of heavy lifting on the desk perspective, but it can pay quite well, especially if you're bringing in consistent business. Now, on pay, of course, compared to investment banking, it is lower earlier on, especially at a junior level. And in the UK, it's around 50 to 90K all in. And of course, again, in the US, it'll be higher than this. But of course, this does step up as you start to assume ownership of the relationship. And at that point, it is more variable as well. The more revenue you bring in, the more you will earn, and it can converge to VP level pay in investment banking as you become more senior in corporate banking. Again, if you're a great originator, and beyond that, it's definitely a more sustainable career. As I said, it's not as intense. So people can do 20, 30 years in this space and get pretty comfortable and enjoy the ride. And if you have a nice portfolio of clients and you remain valuable to the bank, this is a sustainable career path. With that said, let's now discuss transaction banking. And this is essentially the operational engine of the bank. And I want to emphasize something. This is not operations. This is still a front office team that is revenue generating, selling various types of products to clients. So you're not in middle or back office. This is still front office banking. This includes things like payment systems to facilitate payments, cash management and liquidity solutions of various different types of accounts. It can be trade finance to facilitate cross-border trade, or asset finance to buy things like vehicles or ships or machinery or anything that essentially requires a serious amount of financing but is backed by assets, as well as FX and rates risk management. So if investment banking raises money and corporate banking lends money, you can think of transaction banking as moving money. Now, the day-to-day really depends on which product you're in, but broadly speaking, you will be plugged in by the corporate guys, the corporate bankers, and they will give you the particular remit and say, look, this company has this situation, they might need help, what can you do? And then it's over to you. So you may well be looking at their P&L and their cash flow requirements and be thinking about how you can plug in particular products to help with that, or provide particular accounts to help manage currency and cash across borders and help manage that FX risk. You might look at a company that facilitates a lot of payments and look at that payment flows and see what can be automated or optimized. And generally, you may well work closely with the tech and operation teams in-house to help implement solutions. Now, I've never worked in a transaction banking team, but I have worked alongside them, and I have noticed that they don't own the relationship the way the corporate bankers do. They own a product and they go deep into that, and they're specialists in a particular domain. And the pace is different and the intensity is lower. And honestly, they seem to enjoy their job and their life more than investment bankers do. Now, generally speaking, the early pay is going to be the lowest out of the 3 tracks. So you're looking at 40 to 75k in the UK, of course, higher again in the US. But broadly speaking, it's probably the best work to life to pay ratio. And it's very sustainable. And if you stay in this space long term and make your way up, you can definitely earn 6 figures and above longer term and have a very sustainable and enjoyable life. Now, here's what I want you to take away from this. Most people who say they want to work in banking actually mean investment banking because it's all they've ever heard of. But they're not aware of these other tracks. And when you ask them what they actually want from their career, they say stimulating work, good colleagues, strong income, progression, and a life outside of work. And honestly, some of those things investment banking will provide and the other 2 tracks will provide. But generally speaking, there are many roles out there, even within banking, that can service all of these. So it's important to cast the net wider and really think about what it is you want, plus consider where it is you're coming from and what's actually a reasonable target given your circumstances. I guess the takeaway point here is to really think about it in the context of what you want for your own life. Too many people make career decisions based on what they think is the right choice, based on prestige, pay, brand, exit opportunities. Exit opportunities are irrelevant if you don't even know why you're shooting for something like investment banking in the first place. Most people cite, oh, I want to do investment banking because it pays well and it has good exit opportunities. What's the point of that? What's the significance of that? Why do you even want to work in private equity or on the buy side? Have you even thought that part of it through? Or are you just going along because everybody has said the same thing? So it's best to educate yourself on what roles actually exist out there and pick the one that is most suited to you. Now, if you're watching this thinking, I know which way I'm leaning, but I'd like more detail before I make a decision, then I put together a completely free and complete banking careers primer, which is linked below. And it goes through each of the 3 tracks, the day-to-day reality, hours, comp, lifestyle, and which backgrounds fit where. As I said, it's completely free, so go grab it. And if you'd like help in selecting which track is best for you and building a clear plan thereafter, then book a free strategy call below. We'll map the fastest route to the role that you actually want and get you moving with the right steps, timeline, and strategy. Otherwise, if you like this video, you're going to love the next one. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you there.